So I've just put lots of pretty pictures in, really, if I can make it work. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know where the Channel Islands are, which happens remarkably often, we're down here. So we're a whole lot closer to France than we are the UK. So that would zoom in so you can actually see Alderney. So this is Alderney up here, Guernsey, and then the biggest one down here is Jersey. So I spent 12 years living down in Jersey and doing lots of back work down there, but also kind of visited Guernsey and Alderney quite a lot for helping them out as well. So I'm covering all three in this. So just a very, very kind of brief overview. The Jersey Back Group kind of was reformed in 2006, but mostly did kind of reactive emergence surveys for years until 2014 when we suddenly decided we were going to do everything all at the same time. Because, you know, why not? We'd not done anything for a few years, so we'd do everything. So we had the Jersey Back Roost Register Project, the Woodland Bat Project, Hibernation and Swarming Project, and then also emergence surveys and trying to just find out what was there, where it was, and what species we had, because we didn't really know. So I'll start off with hibernation. For anybody that doesn't know the Channel Islands very well, they were occupied by the Germans during the Second World War, and this means that there are loads of fortifications and underground tunnels and things all over the island. So we've been trying to visit as many of them as possible. So this is our favourite one. This is an underground tunnel system that is our only known swarming site in the island. And also only kind of one of 3 horseshoe roosts. It was the first horseshoe roost that we ever found. And it has some interesting things in there. So this is Liz. She's in the room somewhere. I'm not quite sure where right now. So when I abandoned Jersey, Liz took over my project, so I had to kind of name drop her in here. So this is a really bad picture, but so some of the pictures of some of the species we've actually found in hibernation, and it's really difficult in the Channel Islands to find anything hibernating because it's ridiculously mild weather. So we've had pips, which just spend the winters in their summer roosts. We've had, this is a grey long-eared, which also spend the winters in their summer roosts, but also very, very occasionally in underground tunnels. We've got some natterers that like to spend the winter in their summer roosts. This is going to be very repetitive. But also in the underground tunnels, so this one was actually an HO2. I've got Jeffroys, which, you know, I had to put him in there. We have 3 records of Jeffroys in the island. We have no idea if there's more than one bat. We don't know if they're breeding. We know nothing. There was DNA record in 2012. I caught one in a harp trap in 2017, and then this guy spent the winter in that same underground tunnel over the winter of 2017, 2018, and then we haven't seen any more since. So, you know, people need to go catch Jeffroys in Jersey. We've also got horseshoes in there, lesser and greater. It's the only known roost for lessers in the island. They've got to be somewhere else as well, but we know there's one in this tunnel that turns up. And then a couple of graters as well. I'm basically just picking pictures of people here and just going to talk nonsense for a while. This is Henry. A few of you in the room will know Henry. He's been doing a lot of the acoustic stuff in the island. So we started off doing SM4 monitoring, and he's now doing audio moth stuff, which I'll show a picture of him doing that later on as well. But so we've been trying to get a baseline, but there's only so much you can do from kind of roost monitoring and acoustics. So in 2016, we started some trapping projects as well. So we've been doing the Nethusiast project, and then trapping in the woodlands as well, and seeing what we can find. One of the biggest problems in the Channel Islands is kind of lack of training facilities and resources. So you either have to come over here and get trained, or you have to persuade people to come over to the island and do stuff for you. So in 2016, Bat Crew came over and ran a course for us. And we had lots of interesting discoveries. We had a couple of new species for the island in that year. First one wasn't with Bat Crew, it was actually with Bob Corns. And we caught an alcathoe, which was exciting, because we had no idea that we had them there. And then during the Bat Crew course, we got a Dorbentons, which was very interesting to see the reaction of all the UK people went, oh, it's the Dorbentons. And all the Jersey people went, oh my God, it's the Dorbentons! which, yeah, we've never caught one since, but we have had a lot more acoustic recordings that people have been focusing on some of the water bodies and have got lots of kind of characteristic Dorbenton's calls now, so we just need to catch them again and find out where they are, track them a bit. We also did some radio tracking during the back crew course. We've been trying to convince the states of Jersey, our arboriculturists, for a number of years that bats use trees. And he kept telling us that, no, all the trees were cut down during the Second World War. They don't use trees. They're all too small. We don't have any trees suitable. So we radio tagged a natteras and a brown long-eared and managed to record our first tree roosts for the island. Handily, they moved to a few trees as well, so we got, I think, 4 or 5 trees out of kind of 2 bats. We then, a few years later, caught I'm going to do the Nethusiast first, apparently. This is what happens when you write last-minute talks, Naomi. So there's nobody in the island that can actually radio tag, so we do it whenever anybody comes and visits. We make them do things for us. So Danny Linton and Keith Cohen came over in 2017, and whilst they were there, we caught a lactating female Nethusiast pipistrelle. So we radio tagged her. And she decided to use 2 different properties. The one on the left was an interesting one. Myself and Ed, who's stood there in front of me in the picture, kind of were following the signal round, trying to work out where she was, stuck our heads over a fence to discover that there was a garden party going on. Where we had to kind of go, we think there are bats in your house, could we please come in? And they kind of went, yes, I guess so. So I snuck around the house to find the bat whilst Ed chatted up the ladies and made them all happy, and they gave him wine. It was. I found the bat, and he found the wine, so it was good. The next night she went to a different house, which is the one on the right. Sadly, she then disappeared, and we don't know where she went. So we only had those 2 roosts, but it was July, so, you know, she was in the maternity roost originally, but the roost dispersed quite early in the Channel Islands, so we suspect it had just dispersed, and then she might have left, we don't know. We also, on that same weekend, and apparently I didn't put a picture in, we caught another alcathoe, and it was a juvenile female. Danny tagged her as well, and we tracked her to a couple more trees. Sadly, we wanted to climb the trees and actually kind of have a look in, but the trees that they insist on using are dead, and you know we can't climb those, unfortunately. So I thought, I'd just chuck a few interesting pictures in for people just to make it nice. So we've got a slightly different species range in the Channel Islands, being so close to France. We've got all the usual species, but then we've also got Cool's pipistrelle that breed in the island as well. But we've got the Nethusiast, again, which we know they're breeding. We've got natteras that we know they're breeding. We've got saltines that we keep finding single bats in roosts, and we know there's 3 because we've seen them all at the same time. Beyond that, we have no idea. And this one here is the only one that we've ever caught, and he was a boy, so it was decidedly unhelpful. But we've got some very nice woodlands, and there's lots more trapping that needs to be done. So if people want to visit the Channel Islands, then it's a very nice place to go, and there's lots and lots of work to do. And we have things like the Jeffroys and grey long-eareds and all the bats that everybody finds very, very exciting. And there's a lot of work to be done. So this is Henry again. So the other project that really needs help at the moment is Henry's Audiomoth project. So Kate Jones mentioned briefly the IBATS project that was done in Jersey. Henry has been doing a project to compare IBATS with the Jersey Bat Survey, which is basically the same as the British Bat Survey pilot project. So he, with a lot of help from Liz and Ed, has been deploying audiomoths all around the island to find out what's going on. So they did the 2nd year of it this year, and it's going to become more of a citizen science project. But yeah, he has a lot of work to do and a lot of data to analyse. So I just thought I'd name drop him in there. Swiftly moving on, because I'm going to run out of time. So having done Jersey, we decided to investigate Guernsey a little bit, because they only had 6 known bat species over there, and we thought they definitely have more than this. So last year we had the 3rd ever Channel Islands Bat Conference, and we decided to hold it in Guernsey. We, during that, managed to catch coarse pipistrelles, which was nice, because we suspected they were going to be there. And handily, the 3 that we caught were raw juveniles, so we know that they're breeding there. And with the help of Daniel Hargreaves, we radio tagged one of those as well and found a roost for those 2. Me and Daniel failed to find one, so Bob had to do it instead for us. We also managed to catch a greater horseshoe, which is, again, it's another slightly intriguing one in that there was one known roost with one known bat in it, so we caught him out of the roost. He was a boy, again, unhelpful. But he now has a ring on him, so that if anybody finds him, we'll know if it's the same one. The plan is to try and catch them in Jersey and see if they happen to be the same bats, but yeah, we don't know. Somebody else needs to go and do that for me now. We've also started doing some stuff in Alderney. Alderney is a very interesting place in that it's 1 mile by 3 miles. It's very, very tiny. You can't get a car ferry there, so getting equipment over there to do anything is slightly tricky. But there's lots of things to find out. So this year we managed to persuade some people to actually go to Alderney and visit, and we had to ship some harp traps over and things. And we managed to catch a few things. So during a hibernation survey a few years ago, we found an atteras in an underground tunnel, and it was the first record of an atteras, so that was very exciting. We went and visited that tunnel again in July when we were there, and he was in the hole next door to the one that he'd been in the November. So we hand-netted him out of the hole, and he now has some shiny bling, so that the Alderney Wildlife Trust can keep an eye on him and see if he really is the only one. Because there appear to be a lot of lone males in the Channel Islands with no females to go with them. So somebody needs to go and find all the females. And then that's me done.